Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar, Smart Start Social Media and Building Your Business with Chelsea Pites. I'm Beth Hawley with the Arizona Association of Realtors. Chelsea is the Assistant Vice President, Director of Social Strategy for Fidelity National Title Agency and a frequent speaker on real estate marketing topics. With over 16 years of experience in the real estate space, Chelsea's background includes experience in new home sales and as a realtor. She is an Inman News contributing writer whose pieces focus on leveraging technology to grow business as well as lead generation, social media, and digital adaptability. Today's presentation will be about 45 minutes, followed by 15 minutes of Q&A. If you have any questions during the webinar, please write them in the question box as seen on your screen, and we will be sure to address them. As always, today's webinar is being recorded and will be available on our website at aaronline.com. So what's happening in the digital marketing world today, Chelsea?
Hi there. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. I'm very, very excited to be here. And as Beth mentioned, I used to be an agent for over 10 years. So I understand what it takes to be successful in that world and how much things have changed in just the last, decade to 15 years. So I'm really excited to be here to present some information. So we're going to go ahead and just dive right in. And as Beth mentioned, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll address them towards the end of the session. So as we dive into getting into social media, I'd like to give you a little bit of background about myself. I do a lot of trainings for free on Facebook. Everything I teach is on there. You can find me at Fidelity Chelsea. I actually do a show on real estate marketing, believe it or not, on Snapchat. I use that as a platform. I've also been featured in the Huffington Post and was named as one of the top 10 real estate Snapchatters. I'm also a co-founder of some Facebook groups for national real estate agents. I'm an Inman News contributing writer, and I will be speaking there this year, which is a bucket list item for me. I'm very excited about that. Also a Snapchat expert trainer for breakthroughbroker.com and a real estate agent for over 10 years. Today's topics that we're going to be covering are what's happening with marketing, what's happening with branding today, why has it so drastically shifted in the last few years with technology and social media, why is it important to be thinking about how to incorporate social media into your marketing branding plan. And we're going to talk a lot about how social media has affected how you're found online and how you get leads. And we're also going to be discussing your online reputation and why consumers expect you to be on social today. We're also going to touch on how our brand is very collaborative these days, especially with platforms like social media. 20, 30 years ago, the brand was just controlled by the company, and now that we have the internet and Google and Amazon Prime and reviews and Yelp, we are really contributing to what a brand looks like, and your clients and prospective customers are doing the same. We're going to talk about how to create a social selling strategy that's consistent and authentic. A lot of people ask me, how do I really talk about real estate without feeling too salesy and with building a relationship and being authentic? So we are going to talk a bit about social selling strategy as well. And of course, why camera-first marketing is key for 2017 and beyond. Everything is going camera-first. Everyone is moving to live video. Facebook's conference that happened just last week said that they are a camera-first company and they are going all video in 4 years or less. So we're going to talk quite a bit about that. I also like to bring up some of the challenges that we've all faced, including myself, with using social media. Social media can sometimes sound like technology, and that can be a little confusing. It can put people on edge thinking, oh gosh, this is a lot to learn. Maybe I'm too late to the game and it's just going to take too much work to do. My clients aren't using social media. A younger generation is really using it. It's the millennials or the Gen Zs. I actually read an article today that said the median age around the world is currently 29.7 years old. That's millennial. So most of the people living in the world today are in that millennial category, and they're going to be your clients. My target audience isn't using it. We're moving farther away from meaningful communication. I'm referral only. I want to have face-to-face conversations with people. And this is a way that we can really enhance that. I do believe in an old school philosophy for some of these new school medias. A lot of people, including myself, get very overwhelmed. We don't know where to start. We feel intimidated. We feel like we have to do it all and have to be on every channel. And where will we find the time? or my business is all referral, so I don't need to do social media. Often when I hear I don't have the ability to, I'm busy, I don't have time, it really means we don't see the value. And I'm guilty of saying this myself. I say, oh, I don't have time to do those posts or create a blog or connect with people online because I'm just too busy. And then I realize if I saw the value in it and saw the leads and the communications and the comments and the connections that I'd be making, I would make more time for it. So we're going to dive right into really what has got us here. What has changed? We have really seen a lot of training of behaviors and expectations from all of the technology that we are all using, not just the younger generation, but all of us today. It starts with something called pre-shopping, and I bet everybody who is listening to this and who will listen to the recording can relate to this. Being in the moment when something breaks or you realize that you need something and you pull out your phone and start researching it right where you are, either on your couch in your living room or on the go in the actual store. And what they call this is the zero moment of truth. This is a model from Google who put a lot of years of study into this habit. And they called it the zero moment of truth. And you'll see that there in the color bubble. It says ZMOT. So we used to have something where we needed to either buy a property or we needed to find a real estate agent. And what we would do is we would go and ask for a referral, family or friend, and then we would go meet that agent. But today, people are doing research online, looking at reviews, asking their friends through Facebook, watching videos before they do anything. And many of us, including myself when I was an agent, would run into clients who will prepare themselves and research online, and in the first initial meeting will present you with a list of properties that perhaps they have found on other sites. So we're kind of in this new pre-shopping world, which means that consumers are looking for information about you and about your online reputation and the validity of who you are as a business and a brand. As many of you probably use Amazon Prime, I know I do all the time, it's really gotten us a bit spoiled where we can push a button and have on-demand service. We can have something within 24 hours or even same day. Airbnb absolutely disrupted many of the hotel chains because they were offering something that consumers wanted at a great price. And even Uber Eats, which has changed and will change how we are getting delivery. It's really all about kind of that on-demand experience. And people expect to pick up their mobile device and find out information about you and how your brand operates in seconds. A great quote that I love from Gary Vaynerchuk is, there are no more margins in data. When I was a real estate agent in the early 2000s, at that point we gated our MLS, as we still do, but there weren't websites like Zillow and Realtor.com. People now can get information on anything they want. And so we have to think, how can we brand ourselves to be more valuable than what they might be able to find online? So people are really looking for access to information at any time. They're looking for this immediacy of an on-demand experience, and they are looking to have something that provides them something like an experience that they can collaborate with you on and be a part of. And of course, they want it on their terms, as we all do. So when we look at social media, this is a chart from 2016. So this is year-over-year chart from 2015 to 2016. And the most important thing for you to look at here is that there are percentages along the bottom. And those yellow percentages, while they seem small at 10% or 4%, when you're talking about billions of people, it's actually quite a large number. But the interesting piece here is the far right, growth in the number of active mobile social users. That means how many people are using social media on their mobile phones. And we can see here that they had a 17% increase from 2015 to 2016. Now that's important because we're going to look at this next chart. So it's the same chart, and this time it's 2016 to 2017. So in a year, we've doubled. You can see the percentage increase. We've went from 17% increase to a 30% increase over the last 12 months, essentially, for active mobile social users, which just goes to tell us that more and more and more people are spending their time on social media, whether they're watching live streams, whether they're watching TV shows that social media is now producing, whether they're searching, whether they're talking via message, even shopping. People are already there. So the question is, are you there, and what will they find? So the share of web traffic by device is breaking down from 2016 to 2017 what people are using to search their web pages on. And you can see that laptops and desktops have decreased 20%, and mobile phones have increased 30%. I don't think it's any surprise that most of us know that everybody is using their smartphone to find websites, to find reviews, and to look for everything, including shopping. Facebook, of course, remains the most popular social media platform, and you can see here that from 2012 to 2016, it has still remained steady. And they're showing that about 79% of online adults are using Facebook. This is a little breakdown here that you can see of the men versus women and the age categories. And you can see here that there are still very high percentages, 72%, 50 to 64, and 65 plus are showing 62%. So there are a lot of people that are actually using Facebook at a daily rate. Now this chart is really interesting because when we think of traffic going to your real estate website, many of us think that traffic usually comes from Google. A Google search and somebody finds your website or they're searching for a particular area and may click on it from there. An interesting thing started happening around 2015. We started to see that a lot more traffic to sites was coming from social media, meaning that people would be on Facebook or other social sites and may see an ad or a business page of a real estate company and click on that and be taken out from Facebook to that website. So we can see here that social media is actually starting to drive more traffic to websites than even Google, and I believe that will continue. This chart is really talking about messaging apps, and I bring this up because I've just returned from one of the largest social media conferences in the world, and out of 177 classes you could take, 100 of them were about messaging apps, Facebook Messenger or other apps that people use to message each other. And it's important because that is a concept that we need to start thinking about as far as communicating with our clients in the future. In fact, our clients may be able to click on an ad that you've placed in Facebook for your real estate firm or your brokerage and then start talking to you within the Facebook Messenger app immediately once they click that ad. So that's going to be a behavior that we're going to start seeing a lot more activity in messaging apps, specifically Facebook Messenger. So now I want to talk a little bit about reviews, because reviews are really important when it comes to what we call social proof. And social proof, very simply, are the testimonials and the reviews that you're going to be getting from your clients. I'm sure a lot of us are looking at those reviews on Amazon and are really trying to find those 5-star reviews. So this is an interesting slide that shows how we have increased in what we're reading online as far as it comes to reviews. And you can see that 2015 is the blue bar here, and regularly or occasionally they are looking at reviews, and it has declined. And see on the no section here on the far right, only 8% are not reading reviews, and they're not using reviews to determine whether a local business is a good business. Now you can get reviews on your Facebook page, you can get your reviews on Yelp. There are tons of different ways that you can get reviews, but it does go to show that it is very important to be thinking about what kind of reviews, if any, will your client see if they're Googling your name. In 2015, Facebook influenced about 52% of consumers' online and offline purchases, which was up from 36% in 2014. So there is a lot of influence from Facebook on what people are purchasing because people are using a ton of ads in that space. So what really changed over the last year were a few things. Collaborative branding, as we mentioned when we first started, we're no longer in control of it because people have the ability to give us star ratings, give us Yelp reviews. Really, live video took the world by storm. And Facebook Live is definitely something that we're going to be talking about today because it is a way for you to boost your brand visibility for free and get over some of those algorithms that Facebook has in place. Customer experience is absolutely the gold standard. That should not be a surprise. That's been in place for many years and it continues to be so. And access to people and information matters. And because we are in kind of that Amazon, Uber, Netflix world, we do have a different expectation now of how quickly we can get a hold of someone, which is why it's important to think about that strategy when you're communicating with clients. You know, are you available on Messenger? Are they able to find your contact information and provide it to a friend if they want to refer you out? And adaptability is really going to be key because there are a lot of changes that are happening, especially in social media in the next year or so. So let's switch over into a little bit of social selling discussion. Social selling is using your social platforms to create relationships that are developed with the value-driven content and collaboration. And that means that you're utilizing platforms like Facebook or LinkedIn to represent your brand in a professional way and to provide content that's helpful for your clients to make a decision. An example of that may be a market update about a particular area that you are working in and selling properties in, or if you're helping people learn how to purchase a home for the first time. Those are things that are valuable and people need and want and are looking for you to provide through your social media posts. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to create a visible social presence that attracts your ideal client, how to initiate those viable conversations that make prospects pay attention, and how to use social to effectively and efficiently scale processes and show value. We talked a little bit about what social selling is. Most importantly, it's a repeatable process. It is not just sitting down and occasionally posting or commenting. It's really thinking about what can I do on a daily basis for 5 to 10 minutes a day that is repeatable and is going to provide me a bit of a framework to have some success. It's now gone real time because we have Facebook Live and Instagram Live, so it's important to think about how can I incorporate a live video strategy for my business. It's very contextual, meaning that we want to be listening to what people are posting and saying about what's going on in their life and their family, and we want to be able to provide help and solutions specific to those. So without knowing the context and really listening socially, it's going to be a little bit harder for us to provide that really valuable content. And then, of course, I always believe it should be additive, not a replacement for any of your traditional sales activities. Calling people, emailing people, sending mail, whatever it may be that is working for you and is your sales process, this should really just be more of an additive to it. So having a digital brand is really important because your client is using digital. Sales, sometimes we're still using analog, we're picking up the phone and we're calling, but a lot of clients are all in on digital, so it's important to be thinking about how you're communicating on that level. It's easier to scale some of those online activities and touch points using sometimes social media. For me to contact 3 to 4 to 5 people via social media is probably a bit of a time saver compared to some other ways that we could be doing it. Leveraging social algorithms for high visibility, that's specifically in relation to Facebook Live and how to use that, and we're going to talk about that at the end of the presentation. I thought this was a really interesting statistic. Because of social media, we've gotten a lot closer. They say that we are about 3.5 degrees of separation away from people now. So we always used to hear that 6 degrees of separation, and apparently now because of all of these social networks, we're getting a little bit closer, which means social media provides connections and shows you how you might know other people, and then you can also leverage your relationships with those people to say, hey, could you introduce me to so-and-so, or if you want to connect with them. So just goes to show that social media has shrunk the distance between us. All right, so let's get into some tactical tips. Really, the most important thing is to educate not only our clients, but ourselves on the marketplace and market data and even social media and the nuances of purchasing a property and getting a loan and staying up to date on all of those things. And then in turn, helping to use our content that you're going to be creating and distributing through social media, your blog, your website, your email, and your newsletters, to help them make the right decisions. Also, engaging is extremely important. A lot of times that I teach people is if you are making a concerted effort to reach out and comment thoughtfully on 2 to 3 people's posts per day, that helps create a conversation that wouldn't have been there otherwise. But sometimes it's up to us to proactively engage, so that's very important. And then, of course, earning their trust and their business. So you've heard it before, content is king. We hear about this with blog posts and newsletters and making sure that we're keeping up with our posts on Facebook and LinkedIn. Content really, really is important. However, without the context behind it, knowing your niche audience, knowing what their needs are, knowing what point of the journey that they're in, that content isn't going to be nearly as powerful as it could be. So I have an example of this. This is actually some clippings that is on my refrigerator at home. And my parents like to send me little things that they know that I'll like. So I kind of refer to this as a newspaper clipping mentality. When you see something that you know somebody will like because you've either heard them talk about it before, or you know that they're at a certain point with their kids, maybe graduating college, and you're sending them something that may coincide with that, it's really kind of still that old school mentality of, hey, this reminded me of you and I thought it would be helpful. And that's kind of the idea about social selling and sharing content with specific people via a direct message or an email that really lets them know that you've been thinking about them and listening to them. It's also really important that the messages that we're putting out on social media are less about broadcasting and more about speaking to that really specific target audience. I talk a lot about niches, the riches in the niches, so to speak, and I have one friend of mine who is a Florida real estate agent, and her niche is the 55-plus communities. And all of her social posts are really geared towards speaking to that exact ideal client. So it's important to think about who your ideal client is and what they look like, what their ages are, their demographics, their interests, and really tailor those social media posts to that particular audience. Of course, creating your own content is something that is really, really helpful and allows you to become a thought leader. But sometimes we don't have the time to create content every single day or every single week. So it's important to what we call curate, or find content that's interesting and relevant that somebody else has created and then share that with your audience. A tool that I love to use for that, it's a free tool. It has an app and a desktop version. It's feedly.com, and it is a blog aggregator. And so what you can do is sign up for a free account. You can search a keyword, for example, real estate or interior design, any of those types of keywords, and it will pull up all of the blogs across the blogosphere that are in those topics. And then you can create categories. So for example, you could have an interior design category, you could have a recipe category, whatever it may be. And then every morning I come here, I open it up, and all of these blogs are here. You can share them out to your social media right from this desktop app, or you can copy and paste it and go to each social media platform and share it there. So it's just a great way to make it a lot easier so you're not trying to hunt down different websites every day. I love this free tool. I'll talk a little bit about building a community around you as well. So, helping other people and letting them know what you can do for them is key. It's not about you, it's about them. And a great way to do that, especially in real estate, is to join some Facebook groups or create your own Facebook group. There are also Snapchat groups if you are a Snapchat user, and LinkedIn groups, mastermind meetings. You can do those virtually or in person. And of course, niches are really, really key when connecting with a small group. So also, if you think about what you have with social media and within Facebook groups, you start to have this virtual board of directors. So for example, if you're in a Facebook group of other professional real estate agents across the United States, you might be able to ask them for their input and their direction, or if you have your own Facebook group and you have, let's say, an inspector in there, an appraiser, you have all of these experts that become your virtual board of directors that you can then share that information with your prospective clients. I have an entire virtual board of directors of 32 people that range from an appraiser. I've got all of those people in my group. So that's just another way to leverage the connections that you have, and you can have them virtually as well. I call this social drive-bys because a lot of us trying to save time and trying to stay engaged go into social media, specifically Facebook, and just like. But what I would encourage you to do, because it matters so much more to the person who's posting and also helps you open and create communication, which is key, is to actually comment. Now, what I've shown you here is kind of the algorithmic holy grail in the order of best to worst from Facebook. So number one is a share. If I post something to my Facebook feed and it gets shared, that tells Facebook that it's really good usually, and that means they're going to show it to more people. And if you want to give some love to your potential prospects and clients and see something they've posted that's awesome, I would encourage you to share it, because it's going to let them know that, hey, I took the time to read this, it was worth sharing with my community. And then also comments. Comments are key. You know, I know it's easy to just click the like button and then go down the way and just keep clicking, but making a comment, 3 people a day to engage in a thoughtful comment that will help you stay top of mind to those people. And then, of course, reactions, which are these fun little circles here, the little heart emoji, the laughing, the wow. Those are actually ranked higher by Facebook's algorithm than the like itself. So the thumbs up like is kind of old news. I mean, still better than nothing, but that's right there, the order, shares, comments, reactions, and then likes. So really to stand out too, another way you can stand out in the feed is by a video comment. So you might have noticed that when you are commenting in Facebook, there's a little picture of a camera icon. You can see there it says attach a photo or video. So when you're commenting, think about how powerful it is if you're commenting to a prospect or a client or a past client that's worked with you with a video. It really keeps you top of mind, and it's quite a large picture that comes out. So it's going to be noticed much more than just typing in some text. So I would encourage you to play around with some video comments. You just take a quick video on your phone, and then you can click the little camera there in the comment section. It'll go to your camera roll, and you can select that video. Okay, this is kind of my joke about emails that we all hate, right? But it's important to go over. So I'm going to give you a funny example here. It's important when you're writing emails to think about the other person too, because we all have gotten those canned sort of salesy emails. The first thing is grammar. We want to make sure that we're spelling everything right, because you can see here it already started off on the wrong foot with a simple spelling error. We often too, we're writing these emails so quickly, and sometimes, I've done this exact same thing, just checking in, just following up, but really it means, I don't have any real value to share, but I'm still checking in. Or do you have 10 minutes to talk this week? But really that's asking them for something. Or I'd love the opportunity to show you why we're the number one agent in our marketplace, and then that's really kind of me. And then, of course, just the simple best, which apparently happens to be the worst performing closing ever. So when we're talking about email, it's really about making it personal, finding a really great article that speaks to them and something that you've heard them talk about or seen on social media. Say, hey, I saw that you posted that you were looking for X, Y, and Z on Facebook, and I thought this would be a really great article. I was thinking of you. The holy grail of Facebook is the direct message. We kind of talked a little bit about this, but Messenger is so great because you don't need to know somebody's email address or phone number anymore. If you're Facebook friends with somebody, you can message them right through Messenger. So perhaps you're using this as an addendum to your email, and you can actually send a great link to an article or something that you find really helpful directly to Messenger if you may not have that person's email address. But it's another way to stay in contact and to stay visible and valuable. All right, we're going to move into how to get a little bit more visible, how to get viable. Your profiles should really be together. They should be complete. They should represent you as a professional, and that includes making sure that every section, the About section, the business contact section, are completely filled out. I also encourage you to leverage live social video like Facebook Live or Instagram Live, because there's a very short window of time where it is going to be rewarded, meaning Facebook and Instagram really want people to use the live video component. So what they're doing is showing that live video to more people than a regular post, which means you're going to get a lot more reach and a lot more views on any of the other posts that you're doing. Now, they're doing that right now because they really want people to start using it a lot more. Once everybody starts using it, that's not going to be beating the algorithms anymore. So now, live video is a free way to get in front of more people for a while. Really being consistent on at least one platform. I always recommend Facebook and LinkedIn as the 2 platforms that every real estate agent should use. LinkedIn is kind of your professional resume online, a website where you can also microblog, which is really powerful, and then of course Facebook, because pretty much everybody is on Facebook, and Facebook offers an incredible advertising platform that gives you very, very targeted demographic information. Really building a recognizable brand known for a niche, you know, if it's luxury properties, if it's, you know, a specific subdivision or a specific part of town, hyper-local, really kind of niching out to be known for that. Speaking publicly is a really, really great way to become more visible and create a viable brand as well. And then writing, you know, you don't have to be a writer to write. I was not a writer, and I still don't consider myself a writer, but writing for blogs, whether it's your own, whether it's guest contributions to local blogs, or even a blog, a real estate blog like RIS Media or Inman, you can definitely get more visible through writing. And if you are going to do some writing and some posting, I would definitely recommend starting with video first, because it's a lot easier to kind of start with the video, and then you can create a blog about that video. You can even send that video to a third party and have them transcribe it so that it's already kind of turned into a blog post for you. And then a great thing to keep in mind is a 30-day challenge. When I first got started with social media and live video, I committed to doing a live video, whether it was a 1 minute long or 3 minutes long, every single day for 30 days. It got me really comfortable with it. And also know that with social media, it really is kind of a long game. I would say average 18 months to 30 months is when you're going to find it really kind of starting to hum. And I know that sounds like a long commitment, but it is something that, you know, you can do without putting money into it as long as you stay consistent. A great book that I recommend is a book called Known, and it's really about kind of that timeline of commitment and really how to build a great brand. So daily social selling, just like you check your voicemail on your phone, it's important to check your digital voicemail on your social media. You want to see what notifications you've received, who's commented, who's posted, and respond to those, of course. And you want to leave digital voicemails. You want to comment on other people's posts and send them direct messages with content that is useful and valuable to them in their particular context. I would encourage you to create custom lists. Those are lists that you can create within Facebook, and you can categorize different people. For example, you could have a buyer's custom list, a seller's custom list, or maybe it's just a past clients altogether custom list, and then a friends list. And then you can segment and you can send posts that only certain people see off of that list. And also, the great thing about that is that if I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody's posts that I really, really want to engage with, I can click on that custom list, and up comes every single person's posts that I have put into that list. So then I can just easily go down and comment on all of those posts without missing anything. I also recommend that you use the handy birthday section in Facebook, because I always forget birthdays, and that is always keeping me in line. But I don't recommend putting a happy birthday on the Facebook wall, because a lot of people are going to do that, and it's not really going to stand out. If you're going to do that, maybe make a little happy birthday video and send it to that person on Facebook. But I'd recommend checking in every morning, look at those birthdays, and then maybe sending a text message, a call, or sending them a video message on Facebook. Video comments we talked a little bit about. Certainly those will help you stand out, because not a lot of people are using them. Video prospecting, you know, sending an email with a video service or a video attached to it is definitely something that will stand out and capture the eye. And then, of course, curating content with a context that is important for that particular audience, that particular persona. And then also engaging with Facebook and LinkedIn groups. So those are kind of your daily checklists. So we talked about those custom lists. I thought a little visual would be helpful. So when you create a custom list, you can then, in your friends section where it says who wants to see this, you can share it with public friends. When you click more options, that's where your custom list will live, and you can select from there who would be seeing that post. So now we're going to move into the live video component of the camera first strategy, because that's so important for where social media and marketing is going for 2017 and beyond. Facebook has said that in 4 years they will be video. So Facebook gets about 8 billion video views a day, and YouTube, who we often think of as the video giant, is getting only half that. So Facebook has really become quite a video platform. You can see here that the number of video posts over the last few years, and this slide is even a few years old, the red line on the top here is YouTube, and the blue line underneath is Facebook. And you can see right about 2014, the end of 2014, Facebook started to see a lot more video posts. So Facebook is going to be a destination primarily of video in the next few years, which is why they came out with Facebook Live, and that is actually live streaming to an audience without any editing. It's not recorded. It is a live broadcast, and people are spending 3 times the amount of time watching a live video than a recorded video, and they are commenting 10 times more. I did a quick little Google search just to see how many people are really looking up a live video strategy, and it's got a lot of people looking. There's 31 million results in search queries just for live video strategy alone. In fact, it's so important that this is an ad from Facebook. This is a bus bench, and it's just how to go live on their platform. It also took out sides of buses, and again, how to go live when you're not on this awesome tour bus but still want to give an awesome tour. It's only instructions about how to use their live video platform. Another great ad here from the carousel of picking up your luggage, and I thought this was so interesting, was one, Facebook, this new school media, is using traditional advertising, which means traditional advertising still absolutely works. And two, this is a big deal. Facebook has never advertised. They've never done TV commercials. They've never done billboards. They are advertising and spending millions of dollars because they are letting people know this is where we're going and this is where everybody's going in the future. In 2016, November 2nd, they said they plan to put a camera at the center of the user experience. They will be a camera company, and it will be the way they share. They've introduced video calling already. You can even screencast stuff that you're watching on Facebook to your television. They introduced group video chat in Messenger as well. You're going to see a lot more people using this. This may be the way that you're communicating with clients in the very near future. And as of this week, April 20th, it says, we're making the camera the first augmented reality platform. Now, this is Mark Zuckerberg at his conference talking about this. And what I think is interesting for real estate is that we're going to see a lot more things like Matterport Plus, virtual tours of properties and areas, which is going to be really exciting. They've also come out with a camera effects platform, which is really going to encourage people to get very on camera, very comfortable in front of the camera, using the camera to communicate, and soon your clients will have an expectation that you'll be using the camera to communicate as well. This is their Facebook Stories product, and on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see small circles at the top of the Facebook app. Now, you may have noticed that in your own Facebook app, and what that is, those are stories, and those are photographs or videos that users have posted to their story so that their friends can watch, and it disappears within 24 hours. So it gives that sense of urgency that I better watch it or I'm going to miss it because it's going to be gone in 24 hours. So you still have the traditional feed that you're used to in Facebook, but now you'll also be seeing the Facebook stories across the top. Facebook actually owns Instagram, and they look very similar. I'm going to go back and forth here. Here's the Facebook stories, the circles across the top, and the Instagram stories, circles across the top. You can do all sorts of fun little designs. You can see here they put a little mouse emoji in there and drew some things on the cat's eyes. So you can have a lot of fun and be creative with these things. But the point of the story is that everybody's going live video. These little live videos at the top, and they're encouraging people to be using them, especially with the algorithms as well. So I want to talk a little bit about personal video prospecting. It's not technically live video, but still really an important way to communicate since many of us are going to be very inundated with video, and we're going to expect that everybody uses it to communicate. I love a tool called BombBomb.com. You can actually schedule a video that'll go out to your database, and you can have videos via text message, which is awesome because everybody opens text messages, and they have great email templates that you can make. Now, I've used this before, and it's been really, really good. You can see how many people are watching and how many people have opened. But my number one video prospecting tip really is how to interact with the camera. And I wish somebody had told me this earlier in my video days, but this is really, really important. So here's our phone. This happens to be an iPhone, but any phone, you'll see that in the center where the two lines cross, that's where most of us are looking when we first start using camera. So if you're doing a Facebook Live, if you're making an Instagram story, a Facebook story, if you're shooting a video or doing a Snapchat, this will be very, very important because most of us are looking here. And it disconnects us with our audience. Or some of us are looking here because we're looking at a countdown depending on which app you're using, like an Instagram story or a Facebook story or a Snapchat. You can see the timer showing you how much time you have left in that particular video. But here, right into the camera, is where you need to be looking, and it looks like you're communicating eye to eye. So I encourage you when you're doing any video that you're looking right directly into the camera. It's going to feel a little strange at first because we want to look directly at ourselves in the screen, but this is going to communicate trustworthiness and more of a relationship. So camera first always, and starting with video is the easiest because you can have somebody transcribe it. You can make social quotes to post to Instagram. You can then embed that video, or you can even make a podcast. If you didn't know that, you can take a video and have someone transcribe just the audio, and then you can make a podcast with it as well. Our behaviors really are being trained. It's very screen to screen. We're at a literal arm's length communication now that we're holding our phone in our hand. And really faces are important because our brains love faces. We have a facial recognition portion in our brain and we love to see other people's faces. So it's very powerful to market yourself in a camera first strategy. Now you can also go live with somebody else, which is really, really cool. So if you want to interview somebody, maybe a use case would be if you want to interview a local business owner in a hyper-local sense of, this is my community that I serve, and I'm going to be going around the community, and I'm going to be interviewing local business owners, and that is a way that you can stream that right to your Facebook audience. So it's pretty fun to go on with somebody else, and if you're a little bit nervous, I will say going live with somebody else makes you feel a little bit less on edge, even doing an interview or having somebody else kind of take the pressure off to go live with you. So in summary, I'm going to give you 5 reasons to go live. It's much higher engagement. People become part of the show. The experience that we talked about is really the new competitive edge. People really want an experience. They want a real, unedited, real-time engagement. A lot of easy access and instant feedback. So people can let you know right away if they like that home you're showing, that you're touring right now before it goes on the market. Oh my gosh, I love that house. I definitely want to see. Can you pan over and show me the kitchen? I really like to see that. It's multi-demographic. The old school crowd loves video. The new school crowd loves video. Everybody loves to watch people. And it really does combine the high-tech with the traditional. But what's most important, and this is kind of a funny slide because this happened to me while I was going on a live video, as you can see, my hair got a little crazy here, and authenticity is really what matters most. And I was just myself, and that's what makes being on video so important, is to be comfortable with yourself and to be authentic because everybody has those bad hair days. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end it, and we'll just open it up for questions if anybody has any.
Thank you, Chelsea. That was great. I have a question. What do you think about the live video? What is it that's so compelling? Why are people watching those?
That's a great question. I do a ton of writing about why live video is so important. And let me tell you, I didn't know why until I started using it. What I found is it is such an interesting experience because I can actually talk to that person. I can actually experience whether they're in Disneyland or there's a birthday party or a concert. I can be there with them. And that's like something that we've never had before. We always had where, let's say we went to a birthday party, we took pictures at the party and then we posted them to Facebook. Now all of our friends and family could comment and like, oh, that's pretty, that's nice, but they could never experience it with us. And now we've moved from this place of accumulation or past to instant expression, which now people can live the experience with you. And I joke around, but it's very true. I don't watch TV anymore because it doesn't talk back. I've cut my cords, and I watch live streams, and I communicate with people, and it's a very different, interesting experience, but it's really the wave of where everything is going.
Great. A couple of people have a question about business Facebook pages.
Sure.
So they're not using their personal pages. They're using their business. And just wondering if the live videos and the messaging options, are those there as well?
Yes, that's a great question. Yes, so the good news is that live video is now available both on your personal page, your personal profile, and business pages. It wasn't always that way. So you can actually go live from your personal, you can go live from your page, you can also go live in a group, a Facebook group, you can also go live in a Facebook event. And you are not only limited to just using your mobile device. You were when it first came out. You can now go live on your desktop or laptop as well.
Great. So we've got questions flooding in.
Okay.
What do you suggest we use LinkedIn for?
I like LinkedIn because it's really the professional network. So a lot of networking happens through there, and you can create relationships with other agents out of state or even out of the country, and it's easy to find those people because it's very searchable in LinkedIn, and then you can set up, a relationship where if I have somebody that is looking to move from here to there, or maybe you've lived in a state in the past and now you're doing business here in Arizona, you can connect with other agents in those states that you've lived in and maybe worked in as a realtor in other states and be able to refer back and forth. But also it goes back to kind of the Amazon review theory of people are going to be searching you on Google. And the nice thing about having a Facebook business page and a LinkedIn page is that those will show up in the Google search results. So if you have one, you'll be in the top 5, results for your name. One of them will be a Facebook business page. One of them will be a LinkedIn. So it's good because it'll give you a little extra Google juice. And also, I've just recently found that it's really fantastic for creating content and blogging. So if you don't have a dedicated blog, you could certainly blog through LinkedIn and make posts there and even attract more potential business for yourself.
Great. So going back to Facebook, when you are, what do you suggest as far as there are concerns about privacy with your personal page? So would you suggest that people get a business page?
I do suggest people have a business page. I get this question all the time. Do I really need a business page, or can I kind of just use my personal profile for business too? Certainly you can talk about what you do and how you're helping people on your personal profile if you choose, because work is part of our life. But the benefits of having a page, one, is exactly that. If you'd like to keep your personal private, you can have a private page there. And you can also, if you have a private personal profile, you do not have to have a private business page. You can make that public. So you can keep all your private personal stuff on one side and your business stuff on the other, facing, to the public. So that is a way to protect yourself there. And then also, if you want to do any Facebook ads or any advertising at all, you cannot do that unless you have an actual business page. So you have to get that in order to do the ads.
If you were going to use Facebook Live to do a tour of a listing, would you use your phone or professional equipment so that there's no shaking?
Oh, equipment is a great question. So what I would do is, yes, I do use my phone pretty much for everything exclusively. I have done, using an iPad or a laptop, but the phone is just so darn easy, and you can just do everything right there. I do recommend getting a little tripod that sits on the desk. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Could be a $10 or $20 tripod. That will also help you as you're walking and you're holding it, because after a while you can get a little shaky. There are more expensive items. There's one that's fairly, pricey called the Osmo. I think it's OSMO. But if you're going to be going out a ton and doing a lot of filming, after a while you aren't going to want to hold it, make sure that it's stabilized. So there's a couple of other stabilizing pieces of equipment that you could use. But what I do recommend, and I see a lot of people doing, is when they're out there doing live streaming or doing like an Instagram story or even a Snapchat, it's important to remember that it may not seem like you're moving around the house as fast as you are, but to the people watching, slow down just a little bit, because we don't want to make people sick by, panning in and out of a room really quickly. So not a lot of expensive equipment. I would recommend a tripod. If you are going to be out and about, you would want to get something that's more of like a stabilizing tripod or a stabilizing handheld, so that's not going to be shaking.
Okay. Great. So going back to your custom list, Can you share the post with other people not on that list, or does the post have to be public for it to be seen by everyone?
If you are going to be, think of it like this. So if you have an email database or a CRM, you might have lists or categories or buckets of people within that CRM. And if you send an email only to that bucket, only those people are going to get it. So it's the same type of idea with Facebook. Now, if you wanted to, post it to just that custom list, you can, have them just see it. So, or you can make another post later on and send it to everyone, the same post, but most people don't do that. But yes, if you're going to be posting something, there's a little drop down and it'll give you the names of what you've titled your categories. You select that particular category and it only shows in their feeds. Yes.
So what about phone book groups? Are those a good way to target who can see your posts?
I'm sorry, did you say phone book groups?
Phone book groups.
I don't know what phone book groups are.
I'll ask for more details.
Okay, great. We'll come back to that one for sure.
Great. So I see a lot of advertising on Facebook for boosting posts. Is that worth it?
Yeah, boosting posts is kind of the just getting started, and it's a little bit less nerve-wracking to get in there and just like boost the post. So I won't say that it's not worth it at all. There are instances that you would want to boost a post, and I will say that it's a very low price, cost-effective, and much easier way to do something. So if you do have a listing or an open house that you want to boost, you certainly could. What happens when you boost versus actually going into the ads manager and creating an ad with a landing page and all of that is you don't get to take advantage of all of the great data targeting that Facebook has when you boost. It only goes to limited sets of people, and you also have limited creative, and there's really not too much you can do to kind of get people to leave and go to your website to do some lead capture. So ultimately, if you're going to get involved in really high ROI Facebook ads, it won't be through boosting. That's more of kind of the one-offs, the little ones here and there, maybe just get a little bit more reach. You're probably not going to get a ton of ROI as far as people clicking on something or giving you their contact information. It's kind of more for just reach, or another word for reach is visibility, people getting it shown to more people.
And I'm sorry, remind me again, you said live streaming on Facebook groups was possible?
Correct, yeah. You have to be part of the group. You can't go into somebody's group unless you're a part of it, but once you're a member of that group, you can go live within a group.
Okay, great. So going back to video, is it better if they're walking around a house with their cell phone, horizontal, vertical?
Oh, great question. Wonderful question. Well, I do predict that most of the platforms are all going to go vertical. So Snapchat really kind of started that. That was the first vertical screen app that we had. In fact, 5 to 6 years ago, it would have seemed very even offensive to do a video for YouTube and have it vertical. But I believe that it's going to go more that direction. I hold mine vertically. On a Facebook Live, you can do either. You can do it horizontal or you can do it vertically. If you're doing a Snapchat or a Facebook story, always vertical. So either or, for ease and how I hold the phone, I do it vertically. And I will tell you that many people who are watching on Facebook Live, there's going to be some of those black bars on either side of the actual video, but people are used to that. I don't think it's offensive anymore. People, used to shy away from that, but I think vertical is fine. Horizontal is fine too if you want to do Facebook Live, but if you're doing like a Snapchat, it must always be vertical.
Great. So this one's good. I like this one. So they posted a comment on your page. Do you send them a response? Thank you for commenting, a little bit of a personal touch, that kind of thing?
Yeah, if somebody comments, so the question is if you post something and somebody comments on your post, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I post something, like for example, here's something that real life that happened today. I posted an article, not mine. I just found an article that I thought was really valuable and interesting. I posted it, and when I posted it, I always recommend writing why you like this article. Just don't just post a link of somebody else's article. Say, hey, I thought this article was really great because X, Y, and Z, whatever it may be, a sentence or two. Somebody shared that, and so I went to the post that person shared, and I commented on her share and said, hey, thank you so much for sending this. And then you can @tag that person, meaning you can put a little @ sign in front of their name and start typing their name, and their name will come up in a Dropbox or a drop down, and you can click on it, and then it gives that person a notification so they know that you replied to them. But yeah, I mean, that's a place for you to start having a conversation with people and, like their comment at least. So if you don't want to comment back to a comment, sometimes it would seem strange if you did, depending on what the comment is, but you can always like that comment, and that lets that person know, okay, they saw it, they liked it, so it's all good. So yeah, I would definitely use those comments as a conversation starter.
Great. And for people starting out using Facebook ads, is there a trick in the data? I know you can.
Yeah, I wish.
It feels like you can narrow it, but then it's just a shot in the dark.
One of the things I will say is the number one problem or mistakes, if you want to call them that people make with Facebook ads is the targeting. Either the targeting is way too narrow, because what happens in the Facebook ad targeting area is they give you a ton of different options. You can do age and income and familial, status if they have kids, if they don't. I mean, all of these different ones. And sometimes we can go overboard and pick, 30 different types of criteria. And what happens is that's an or, right? So it's a, this criteria or this criteria or. So there's all this different stuff, and you just never know which one worked. So that's why it's probably better to start a little bit more narrow and say, okay, I'm going to only pick 2 categories or 2 interests. I also recommend, if you have a website with a good amount of traffic, you can put a piece of code that Facebook will provide to you. You can give it to your web developer. They can put it inside your website, and it can track those people and then remarket to them as well. That's one of the campaigns that they offer. But unfortunately, there's no easy trick for Facebook ads. It's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of reading articles and watching videos and just getting out there and trying it. But what I will say is once you do a couple, it gets a lot easier to create them, and it gets a lot easier to start targeting, and it's really kind of just getting out there and trying it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Chelsea. So a lot of people have personal questions they'd like to ask you. Are you available for consultation?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If they have questions, they can email me anytime. I know it's hard to get to everyone's questions, and there's probably a lot of them, so I'm happy to answer any questions at all.
Great. Well, thank you all for joining us today. Our next webinar will be the AAR RPR Broker Series Broker Tools Overview on May 2nd, and we hope you'll have a listen. So have a great day, and thank you for joining us.